Demon sniffed the air and whined quietly. He could still smell the blood. He licked his lips and he could still taste it. He had battled many times now. His life had been nothing but battles and pain. He circled 3 times and lay down in his pen. Beyond the smell of blood, he could smell fear, both canine and human, and he could smell the foul odor of his master. He bared his teeth at the thought. This was the life he had always known. Since he was a puppy, pulled away from his mother way too young, he had known only terror. He had experienced not a moment of love from anything that dared call itself human. He had been bred to fight, and he had been trained to fight from the moment he could walk and just after his eyes opened. When he didn't perform, he knew pain, from the board or the devices that the humans used. Across from him, in her cage, was Delilah. She lifted her snout and sniffed the air in his direction. He raised his chin and licked the air. She had been his companion for almost as long as his brain could recall. She was his mate, but she also fought. She was fierce. Together, they were nearly unstoppable. "Good job tonight, Demon," said the horrible-smelling man that was his master. He had staggered out of the filthy sty that passed for his home into the yard. Demon recoiled at the stench. He smelled urine and fecal matter and some other smell. It was the smell of internal organs rotting and the horrific substance that the man was constantly pouring down his throat. "You did real good." He came near Demon's cage and held out his hand. Demon bared his teeth, but then remembered the times when he had done that and he had been beaten. No, now was not the time. But soon, he felt. There was a certain scent in the air, and he knew that there was change coming. This man, this foul excuse for a man, was dying. He could smell it, and the smell enraged him. He leaned forward to accept the half-hearted pat on his head. The man laughed and nodded, and then staggered off into the night. He headed back into the stinking hole that was his home. Demon growled. He was in charge here. He knew it, but the man who smelled so foul and treated him and Delilah so horribly, he did not seem to realize it. Demon had earned the right to be in charge here. He got up and turned. The chain around his neck was his enemy. It held him. It prevented him from running. It prevented him from getting near Delilah. He bit the thick links and bit hard. He shook his head. The links bent. Just a bit. The taste of the metal was enough to know that he had done something. He sat down and gathered part of the chain in his mouth and held it with his paws. He heard Delilah whine softly in her cage. He growled and turned his attention to the links. He tore at them with his powerful teeth. The stuff tasted horrid, but he spit it out into the dirt. Slowly, so slowly, the chain began to crush and tear. Demon paused late in the night and licked his lips. Morning would get here soon, and the man would likely get up at some point. He would be in a foul mood, and he would bring pain. Demon returned, working on the rope. His teeth hurt and his gums bled, but he continued, obsessed and determined. He shook his head again, holding the rope in his teeth and between his powerful jaws. Then, the rope snapped. He paused. He panted. Then he growled. He was free, but he did not move. He needed rest. He heard the foul man inside the home snoring. He growled. He rested his head on his paws. Dawn was still a few hours away. Demon closed his eyes. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, Demon and Delilah would be free. Thanks for listening to When the Night Comes Out Jump Scares. Be sure to like, share, and review. You can binge our first 2 seasons of full-length stories now. Until next time, try to stay safe when the night comes out. Hey guys, we appreciate your continued support, but we also would like to create a community around When the Night Comes Out. A community of horror fiction fans who support us so we can bring you even more stories, more scares, expand what we offer, and maybe even podcast merch. So be sure to visit patreon.com/whenthenightcomesOut and become a supporter. Every amount helps. We'll see you next time, when the night comes out.